not just these.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. We proceed each council meeting with a prayer and pledge of allegiance. If you'd like to, please feel free to join us. You going to bow with me? Lord God, we thank you for your grace, your goodness, your mercy. Lord, that you know the oceans, how far they can go. We thank you for the city. We pray for the decisions made now.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. We'll call this meeting to order. Mr. Garrett, would you call the roll, please, sir?
Mr. Hawkins?
Here.
Mr. Grimes?
Here.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Ms. Mill?
Here.
Mr. Ledbetter? Here. Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Isby?
Okay, you should have received copies of the minutes from the September 12th, 2023 City Council meeting. Any changes, comments, or corrections?
Make a motion to approve as submitted. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm sorry, passes 7-0. All right. Next up, we have our monthly financials. Mr. Winningham.
Evening, council, and hello,
Good evening.
everybody else. We're looking at the month of August tonight, and starting off in our general fund. That's really the only comments I've got tonight are on the general fund, but we can certainly discuss anything you guys want to. Our sales tax took a little dip in August, down about 2.67% from the same month last year. Businesses are allowed to claim rebates on certain purchases, and it looks like the rebates claimed was up about 25% compared to last year. Dollars wise, that's not huge. It was about a little over 40-something thousand, but it still contributed, I think, to the decline. If you look down through the information that we're able to get from the state, it's really kind of hard to pinpoint anything. You had some categories that were a little bit up, some were a little bit down, some down more than others, and overall it just resulted in a small net decrease for this month compared to August of last year. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully that's not a trend that we see.
Where are we for the year, Mr. Winningham?
It was up about 3.5, something
Okay,
like that, I think.
so we're still up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on down through the revenues, you'll see we're now starting to record our lot fee turn back, and that they give us the number for the year, and then we just record it monthly based on it. Basically lets us count that towards the employer portion of lot fee. So each month, as we're supposed to make employer contributions, we just kind of chip away at that credit. So I can go ahead and tell you now, we're going to beat that budget number by about a little over $100,000 this year. We got a little over 1.4 million was our turn back, so that was good news. Building permits, you can see there they're strong. We've collected 87% of our budget, and this time last year they had collected about 71% of our budget. So that's still trending just strong as ever. We also had a good month in our parks revenue. You can see now we have exceeded our budget for the year already, just through 8 months. So things are going well there. In our expenditure section, all of our departments, the operating departments, meaning that non-departmental line item is not personnel and salaries or anything, but our other departments, all those others, they're either at or below what the 8-month budget would be. So that's good news as well. And we're showing a net revenue a little over $1.5 million for the general fund for 8 months.
And our interest income is
Yes.
still really a lot higher.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. We're doing great on interest income. And if you look at the balance sheet, if any of you are ever so inclined to flip over to that, So the main thing there is our operating cash, that very first number. It's on the upward trend as well. We started the year with about 17.1 million. And a year ago, we were sitting at 15.8. So right now we are at 17.7. So all things are looking good there, and all of our other funds are doing good as well. I just didn't see anything that really jumped out at me to warrant any discussion. But like I said, if there's anything the council wants to discuss, I'd be glad to.
Any questions for Mr. Winningham?
I got a statement. I think as much as anything else, we got almost $40 million in the bank and funds, major project funds. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes, sir.
22 and almost 23 in a street fund, and pay as you go sales tax, almost $11 million in that. Does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
What's our plan for that, Mr. Mayor?
Well, by the end of the year, those numbers will be down somewhat, but right now we are enjoying collecting our interest. Mr. Hawkins, it looks like we're going to have a good year interest-wise. At that point in time, when we come around to budget this year, there will be some new asks going forward into 2024 to be y'all's decisions to see what you want to spend it on.
We ought to be putting asphalt all over this place.
We are.
Much money.
It's kind of funny, folks want to know when we were going to do street work, and now we're getting calls on, is there a street in Conway that's not being worked on? So they are putting down a lot of asphalt. I will try to get Kurt and Jacob to give us a number on the miles of streets we've paved in the last few years, but it's a lot. And
Yeah, I've had those calls too about roads sure are blocked up, broke up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to our partnership with the Conway Corporation. They're working with us to go ahead and replace their infrastructure before we get in on the street. They go in, replace their water, sewer, whatever they do. Then they put the patches back. We come in and mill that and put down a new street.
Our estimated time to finish one up Hendricks on
Markham, I think they told me late this fall or early spring. And hopefully we're probably about 9 months out now on completion of Donaghy, and then we'll not be far behind on Salem and downtown. Once they get through with their infrastructure there, we'll come back through there and pave it. So we got some choppy rides right now, but it's all headed in a good direction.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I do know the street sales tax, the $22.8 million account balance there. I believe Kurt and his crew have that all planned for, I believe, match projects.
They do.
With RDOT. So we're going to be doing some big stuff with that money. And then I think, is it 9? Yeah, so later on in the agenda, we've got ordinances for the Parks and Rec A&P money and the Parks Impact Fee money. So it's good that we have those balances because we're fixing to start.
Yeah, and they've started moving infrastructure out there at Hogan and 64 as well. And we'll be about 2.2 or something into that. So,
Thank you.
any other questions for Mr. Winningham?
Make a motion for the approval of the August financials.
Have a motion and a second to approve the monthly financials for August 2023. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins, you're up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item here is consideration to approve waiving the 3 readings for ordinances on tonight's city council agenda, and I'll take a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to waive the 3 readings of all ordinances tonight. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is resolution requesting that the Faulkner County Tax Collector place some liens on properties around town for expenses incurred by the city to bring these up to code. And we have 4 properties tonight. I don't think we've had any taken off. The first property is at 1760 Arden Lane, Arden Lane, where the city has spent $130.56 to get this into and up to our codes. Is there an owner or representative of an owner from 1760 Arden Lane with us tonight? Mayor, I don't see anyone coming forward on that. We have a resolution to be read. It's Resolution R 2351.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Second location, Mr. Mayor, is at 7 Azalea Loop. $165.21 has been spent by the city to get this one up to code. Is there an owner or representative of an owner from 7 Azalea Loop with us tonight? Mayor, I don't see anyone stepping forward, so we have a resolution for this item. It's Resolution R 2352.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution for a lien filed on number 7 Azalea Loop. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is at 1820 Mill Street in Conway. Again, the same $165.20 charge has been expended to bring that one up to code. Is there an owner or representative of an owner from 1820 Mill Street with us tonight? Mayor, I don't see anyone stepping forward, so we have a resolution for this item. It's R 2353.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
I have a motion and a second to approve this resolution for a lien on 1820 Mill Street. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Final one of these, Mr. Mayor, is at 820 Spruce Street. Is there an owner? And again, this is $167.20. They must have had an extra round to go on the mower to make this one straighten up. $167.21. 820 Spruce Street is the address. Is there an owner or representative of an owner from 820 Spruce Street with us tonight? Mr. Mayor, I don't see anybody, so this is going to be Resolution R 2354.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution for a lien for 820 Spruce Street. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, would you make sure that they correct the letters that are going out to people? It says that our city council meeting starts at 6:30. I mean, I don't know that we've ever had anybody show up, but just in case, if they're coming at 6:30, we would already be past all their items.
I thought we had this listed at 6 p.m. So
Yeah, but the letter says.
The letter that goes.
Yeah, if you read the letters on each of them, Ann had noticed it.
okay,
the
if
last
someone
time.
comes in, we'll go.
Well, yeah.
Can we go back to that, Mr. Finkenbinder? We will make it a point to go back.
Yeah, but I think moving forward, we should just make sure they correct the letter.
I agree.
I said something to Spencer about it last time, but
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. No, we'll be sure to back up.
Yeah, and
And
like I
make sure.
said, we've never really
Mhm.
had anybody show up, but.
Well, someone might, so we'll
someone
cover it. But
might.
thank you,
You never
Ms.
know.
Ms. Mill.
Roseanne.
Mr. Hawkins.
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance to approve the private club permit for Red Robin Conway Club, Inc., DBA Burnt Ends Barbecue. Now, that sounds good already. Located at 1025 South Amity Road in Conway. And we have an ordinance to be read for this one. It's ordinance 02370.
70.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or in opposition to this ordinance? Any questions?
I do like good burnt ends. Just
Do too. One of y'all too. Got my mouth watering already.
She didn't.
We have an
He's
ordinance-
asking, when will you open? Mhm.
That's when the barbecue gonna be ready, mid-November? That's when you have the barbecue ready, mid-November?
Yeah.
welcome to Conway.
Yay.
Make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
I have a motion and a second to approve a private club permit location for Red Robin Conway Club, DBA Burnt Ends Barbecue. Any further discussion?
Mhm.
Mr. Garrett?
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins?
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance appropriating funding and approval of artist for the Stone Dam Creek Underpass and a downtown Conway mural project for the Public Art Advisory Commission. Hello, Felicia. How are you?
You adjusted that microphone before this started tonight, didn't you?
So the Public Art Board did a request for proposals for art, and they are looking to put a mural on the Stone Dam Creek underpass and then one here in downtown. And so they picked 3 artists that they would like to use and appropriate $30,000 for both projects to be done hopefully this winter.
Buildings downtown. You know?
We haven't picked one yet, but we're going to
Okay.
pick one building downtown and put a mural.
City Hall is a possibility right here. The fire station, you know, they put a new coat of paint on there. So we have several options. Then once we start our demolition of the old building over here on Court Street, we'll have that area there. So we've got a lot of possibilities coming
It'll
up.
have some spots.
Yeah, it does.
Could be. Any questions? Ms. Rogers? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for the adoption of ordinance number 02371.
Have a motion and a second to appropriate funding and approve artists for the Public Art Advisory Committee. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett?
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins?
Next item, Mr. Mayor, is a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Arkansas Department of Aeronautics State Airport Aid Program for the Conway Airport. And Jake, you got something for us on this? Thank you.
Good.
Good for you.
I'm great. So this is a project that before the grant for the city or the state, I'm sorry, was around $100,000. We're going to do a partnership with UCA where we were going to have to. The city was going to be going to put about $100,000 worth of infrastructure in for sewage and electricity, anyways. They just bumped this grant up to $500,000 with a 10% match. So $50,000 now, I can do all that $100,000 worth of groundwork to allow them to build and some other individuals to build. And then we can build a city hangar as well, which we can get that $50,000 back around 4 years with the rental income that we'll get from those planes. So
How long's our waiting list right now, Jacob?
I've got about 55 people.
I thought so.
Wow.
So this will take 4 to 5 people off of it, depending on how large their planes are. Those, our T hangars that have about 12 airplane hangars, those are around $1 million just for the hangar. It gets a little difficult, but the FAA won't fund the hangars or the fuel for us because that's our generating revenue for us. Excuse me. So unless we do all the safety things that we're currently doing in the next 3 years, so once we do that, they will fund some more T hangars for us. So that's a project in 2026. We'll start building some more T hangars.
Thank you, Jacob.
Good.
Council, back to you.
Make a motion for the adoption of the resolution R2355.
Have a motion to approve this resolution. Any further comment? Mr. Garrett?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins? Thank
Next
you,
item,
Jacob.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hawkins. Go ahead.
It's an ordinance to approve zoning code revisions for data centers in the city of Conway. Hey,
Good evening.
what you got?
Got a little information for you tonight.
Come on.
Troy Rice, Interim Director of Planning and Development. Glad to be here tonight. With ordinance O-23-55 passed by City Council, July 25th, 2023, the council adopted rules and regulations pertaining to data centers and related noise disturbances within the incorporated city limits in response to Arkansas Act 851, also known as the Arkansas Data Centers Act, which provides guidelines and prohibits discrimination against digital asset mining businesses. As current zoning regulations do not define a use in kind to data mining, data centers, crypto mining, and other similar uses, the Director of Planning and Development, along with the City Attorney's Office, work together to create these amendments which would align with the state requirements. Planning Commission reviewed this request at its regular meeting on September 18th, voted 8-0 that the request be forwarded to the City Council with the recommendation for approval as presented. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance.
Any questions of Troy on that?
So just looking at the chart on the back, data centers would be allowed by right in I-3 zoning and then by conditional use in other zonings. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct.
And really, that was really more of a statement for those in the audience listening.
Yeah.
I-3 is where these would be allowed.
Yes.
And other areas of the city could be allowed with conditional use.
Mhm.
They're going to have to do something about their noise.
Yeah. Make a motion for adoption of the ordinance 02372.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance, approving zoning code revisions. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
That passes 7-0. Mr. Hawkins.
Last item here, Mr. Mayor, is an ordinance to rezone property at 5620 and 5625 Spencer Lake Drive from PUD and A1 to an R1 zoning. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission at their meeting on September 18th this year, and at that time voted unanimously to send this to City Council with a recommendation of approval. And Troy, would you like to talk about this one as well?
Sure.
Thank you.
The applicant is seeking the rezoning from PUD and A1 to R1, which is consistent with the comprehensive growth plan in this region. The Spencer Mountain at the Lake PUD was approved December 27, 2005, and has never been developed. An R1 zoning is more consistent with surrounding zoning and the use pattern within this area. There is a small percentage of the property that is zoned A1 along Pageant Road, which is also part of the overall rezoning consideration. As was mentioned, the Planning Commission did vote unanimously on this request, and staff recommended the approval of the rezoning as the proposed zoning is consistent with the present and proposed use of the site and will likely not cause harm to the surrounding properties.
Do we have a motion?
Make a second.
Go.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance to rezone property located at 5620 and 5625 Spencer Lake from PUD and A1 to R1. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Thank you, Troy.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have the Public Service Committee portion of the meeting. First up is an ordinance appropriating funds for the Conway Soccer Complex. Andrew, I think you're here to speak to us tonight.
Sir, good evening, Council.
Hello,
I thought
Andrew.
I'd give you guys a little bit of an update with the soccer complex. I know most of you guys have been out there, at least driven by. Hydro seeding started a little over a month ago, so the grass is coming in nicely. Hopefully, I know a lot of people are tired of this heat, but we needed just a little bit longer to get those roots going. So other than that, the concession stand's going up smoothly, really taking shape. The curbing in the parking lot has really come along nicely in the last couple of weeks. So we're excited to see the finished product here in the next month or two. So excited about that. This first ordinance, we're looking to appropriate funds from the A&P balance that will go to the completion of the soccer complex. So this will include our IT needs, F, and E, and then the remainder of our soccer balance. It'll also appropriate funds from our impact fee balance, and that will go towards a splash pad and a maintenance storage building to be placed at the soccer complex as well.
Make
Any-
a,
Second.
Have a motion and a second to appropriate funds for the Conway Soccer Complex for the city of Conway. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Jones? Yes. Ms. Isby?
yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. And next up, we have an ordinance appropriating funds for capital improvement projects and equipment for Parks and Rec. Andrew.
Yes, sir. So this is our 2023 capital budget. So we're looking to appropriate funds from the A&P. This will go to resurface the tennis courts, or 4 tennis courts at the tennis center, bathrooms at MLK and Pompey, and repair the roof at Don Owen, as well as purchase mowers, a turf groomer, a Toro Workman, and a tractor for the various parks, mainly the new soccer complex. And the last thing is this will appropriate money for the pickleball courts at Fifth Avenue. It'll contain 4 pickleball courts along with lighting and fencing out there.
Make a motion for the adoption of the ordinance 02375.
I have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any further discussion? Yeah, we're going to have some more pickleball
I'm gonna
courts.
have to start.
Mhm.
Mr. Garrett.
I gotta look.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Thank you, Andrew.
Can I
Yes, sir.
Councilman, if y'all might consider, I've had someone want to know if we put a water fountain out there at the, for the veterans.
Oh,
Yeah,
the veterans.
They said people come through there jogging or whatever, they have nowhere to drink water. They said they take a hose, a spigot, or anything. If we could find a way to put something out there.
I will, I'll talk to Brett Carroll tomorrow and see how close sanitary sewer is there. And that shouldn't be a big issue. We got water. I know we got water out
Yeah,
there.
they said they got water, but they just said, just let's think about it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
What location are you talking about?
Pompey Park,
Pompey,
Veterans,
so-
Veterans Plaza.
Part of the restroom that we'll be putting out there.
Yes.
It's a prefabricated building that'll have a water fountain attached to it.
Good. Say that again. I mean, I just want them to hear it because they told me to ask. Okay?
Yeah. There will be water out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, if the council would like to see pictures of the prefabricated building, you can't tell it's prefabricated. It's really nice. I still have to get with Brett on the sewer end of that, though. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And last, we have the finance department. Mr. Winningham, an ordinance appropriating funds for software upgrade for the finance department.
Yes, sir. One of our projects identified to spend our rescue plan funds on, like I say funds a lot, is the upgrade of our Springbrook software, which is used throughout the city. All of our department admin assistants use it to enter their purchase orders. They use it to enter their budget time. It's primarily used within finance and HR. It does payroll, it does our accounting. Reports that you see each month are generated through Springbrook, and we're in the process of upgrading that to their newest version and also getting it off of our servers, and it's going to be on their cloud. So we're in the midst of testing that right now, and we have a go live date of October 16th. So we just ask that you appropriate our rescue allocation for that so we can get that bill paid.
Make a motion for approval of that. Of the
Second.
ordinance.
76.
I have
Second.
a motion and a second to appropriate, I'm sorry, I got ahead of y'all. To appropriate funding for software upgrades for the finance department. Any further discussion? Mr. Garrett.
Ms. Mel?
Aye.
Ms. Isby?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Ledbetter?
Yes.
Mr. Grimes?
Aye.
Ms. Tucker?
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins?
Yes.
Passes 7-0. Council, that's all we have for tonight, but I'm going to ask you guys to hang out just a few more minutes in case someone did want to come in. The letter that we sent out gave the wrong time at 6:30. So we're going to wait, Miss Mel, and see if anyone shows. Yeah, we'll give folks people. In the meantime, just a reminder, the Diversity Advisory Council is hosting their first Culture in the Park on Saturday, September 30th, from 12 to 4. There will be music, games, food, and so much more, so please come out and join them if you can. Tell us about Shawana.
Yes. In fact, the Diversity Advisory Council is really excited. We'll have food trucks that will be there. There'll be bounce house and activities for the kids. We will have some live music, and in between the live music, we'll have a DJ that will be there that will be playing music. We'll have informational tits. Our food trucks, Uncle Tim's, Los Delicios, and and he told Linda will be there. So we're excited about it. Varsity Council's excited about it. Giant Connect for what's the Bago? That's it.
Yeah.
Bago.
Bago.
I'm like, what is the Bago? That's my mom. Giant Connect 4. So we'll have quite a bit going on. Just a good positive atmosphere for everybody to get out and just have a good time with their families.
That better me be there because there's bounce houses.
I would. So it's gonna be an
I
obstacle
say you have
for
any
us.
food trucks.
Just don't get whooped by the kids like I did.
Thank you, Shawana.
Mhm.
All right. With that, I will take a motion to dismiss.
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Jamie.